Welcome to another rainy day in Manchester. Listen, some hailstone last night. Some hailstorm or something. Just at the gym now. I'm counting. Just wanted to make a little video about the Dave Allen Johnny Fisher fight. I watched that last night. Obviously, it was on the Fury Usyk 2 card. Seen a few videos about it. Everyone's got their opinions. I think Dave Allen's also got a YouTube channel, and he's given his opinions. I like Dave Allen's YouTube channel. He's a very honest guy. I think humility was a word that was used in one of his interviews, and I find that quite refreshing actually. You know, he tends to be quite honest, open and transparent about his feelings on it, like his performances, his past training, things like that. So I just think that that's a breath of fresh air in this era of boxing where everyone's basically talking rubbish about, everyone's basically talking rubbish and everyone wants to open their mouth only to sell fights, if that makes sense. Yeah, of course we've got to, fights it's got to be a promotional aspect, but I think what Dave Allen's showing here is you don't always have to gas yourself up to sell a fight. If you're just honest and transparent and things like that, you have respect and humility. I think that goes a long way for selling fights and for promoting the sport in general. So I think like what Dave Allen's doing is like a breath of fresh air, and he's obviously a northern guy as well. Yeah, I think I think he's great for the sport. I think with Dave Allen as well, if I'm honest, I was a bit of a casual when it comes to Dave Allen. Apart from his YouTube channel, I know who he is. I know he's, I don't know too much about his record. I know a bit, but I think the way it came about this time round is that I was just happened to be watching that Fury v Usyk card, and just happened to be, usually, when you watch these cards, for me, I don't always watch the fights below the main build event, if that makes sense. But on this occasion, I watched the fight before the Johnny Fisher Dave Allen fight and the Dave Allen fight, and was taken aback actually. I really enjoyed that fight. I think it's for the people involved in the fight to say what their opinions are on the outcome of it, but I've heard a lot of people call it a robbery. I'd probably agree with that, if I'm honest. But it is what it is, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I think with the sport of boxing, what people have to understand is, if you want to guarantee a win, I mean, first things first, there's a lot of, let's just say it like this, there's a lot of business that goes behind the actual business of fighting, where interests have to be protected, and, some people have got a lot of money behind them, and if there's a way to boost that person up, then sometimes it will go in their favor, basically. I think quite a lot of the time the judges have this in the back of their mind. They'll obviously have their subjective opinions on what kind of fights they like to see in the back of their mind, and with this fight, I think you could have, I wouldn't go so far as to say it could have gone either way on the judges' scorecards. I do think it was a bit of a robbery. It was a straight up robbery actually, not a bit of a robbery. I think that if I was to briefly talk about the fight itself, my opinion, like I say, I was a casual to Dave Allen prior to this, and I think he's won me over on the back end of this. I think what I would like to say also is I hope he continues to fight, because I'll be tuning in, just quite simply because I like the guy, and I think, and a lot of people say a lot of things about Dave Allen, but I think that Dave Allen's actually a good fighter from a, it's controversial opinion, a good fighter from a technical perspective. It's probably controversial for some people. What do I mean by technical? Now, I don't mean he's Mayweather. I don't mean he's, someone was talking about Pernell Whitaker, and I had like the screen commentary where it had the alternative guys like True Geordie and them man there, and they were giving it the jokes. There was one guy, I don't know his name, who kept saying, watch out for Dave Allen. What you seeing him doing that everybody's misinterpreting as he's kind of just acting sloppily and he's just like he's getting tired. What he's doing is that's his strategy on how he fights to beat guys. And then when he put Johnny Fisher over, probably in like round 4 or round 5, like knocked him down, shall I say, this guy in the alternative commentary started piping up and saying, see, this is what I'm saying to you, this is his strategy. And before that, like rounds 1 to 4, I think Dave Allen admits it himself, like he was getting levered basically. But I see Dave Allen, at least from this fight anyway, as the kind of guy that he's willing to take punishment to give punishment. And he probably is not one of them stinging, he's not one of them sniper knockout puncher type style fighters. But what he strikes me as is a guy with those hard thudding punches. Maybe not to the level of, but comparable to in the style of his punching. Like a George Foreman type. He uses a lot of framing. He's very crafty. I think he's fairly experienced. I think he said he's had 30-something pro fights. I know some of them are probably like 4-rounders and this and that, but I know he's sparred a lot of guys as well. Sparred like Joshua's, Fury, Usyk. Very experienced guy, as I'm learning now. And with that kind of experience, compared to Johnny Fisher, who's not as experienced of a fighter, it doesn't have that wealth of like maybe sparring experience with all of these top heavyweights, and then especially the pro fights, has far less pro fights. I think Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen, I think he went into the fight understanding like I think they've sparred before and that they're somewhat like mates and that. I think he went into this thinking he was going to get battered, I suppose, or maybe that knowing that Johnny Fisher hits hard, which it seems like he does, and just getting ready for a bit of a war, but maybe soaking up some of those punches and then coming back later on. It's kind of like, what I'm trying to say is Dave Allen strikes me as the kind of guy who is in it for the long haul with a fight for the most part, or at least he was in this fight. Seemed to have gone in with a game plan, whether or not it looks like it. I think Johnny Fisher had he had a good jab, and I'm quite sure he hits hard with the right as well, and I'm sure that was starting to accumulate on Dave Allen within the first 4 to 5 rounds, and I'm quite sure Dave Allen knew it. And then what happened is, I think Dave Allen kind of realised that jab's going to keep coming. I think he caught him on the chin, knocked him down, to which he got back up. There's issues with that as well, but I'm not going to go into that in terms of how the referee dealt with that. But I think from there on it changed. The tide changed. The tide turned, and it just started to be all about Dave Allen really. So I'm saying, rounds 5, or most of 5 at least, through to 10 were all like Dave Allen for me. If you ask me, like he's very good and at using his experience. And I think that was although Johnny Fisher got the decision, I think that's the difference really between the two in that fight. Johnny Fisher kind of came out strong early and probably knackered himself a bit by rounds 4, was blowing. I think Dave Allen, like I watched something Dave Allen posted today, and he did say that was his analysis of it at the time. And then, it's from rounds 5 onwards, I think Dave Allen's experience started to show. He does something really good where he recognises that his opponent, in this case Johnny Fisher, was like, as he got more tired, he started to lean more over his front foot. So what he would then do is he would allow him to come in, he would corral him with his lead hand, he would he'd push his head away and then come up with the uppercut. He did that quite a lot. Then he would obviously like lean on him and make him carry his weight, and that was just knackering him out more, to the point where going down the stretch, rounds 9, rounds 10, you could tell both men were shattered, but I feel like Dave Allen had a bit more in him, to be fair. I think Dave Allen I wouldn't say he made a mistake, but he was unable to get him out when he put him down in round 5, and I think he expended a lot of energy trying to put him down, trying to take him out, and that was kind of dictated the tone for how he was going to fight the rest of the fight. But nevertheless, I think what stands out to me is I think that was a good performance, to be honest. Some people are trying to criticise Dave Allen for not being one of these super polished guys, but the art of boxing is not all about polish. It's just about experience and hitting whilst not getting hit. And I think that, well, you know, hitting and not getting hit, or at least delivering the more effective shots, is what I will say, because obviously some people hit and don't get hit, whereas some people take punishment to give punishment. So it's one or the other, or a combination of both. But what strikes me more and what's more impressive to me is like Dave Allen's humility in terms of his reaction to that decision, and then his assessment as well. Which I've seen this before, because I think I've seen Dave Allen fight before. I wasn't too like I don't want to say I wasn't too impressed, but I wasn't too I was still a bit of a casual in terms of casual with regards to Dave Allen at the time. But then I started to see him on YouTube, and then more recently I saw his fight last night. But what I like about Dave Allen is he has a very good ability to be able to, he's very introspective. You know, he understands, you can tell, like, if you listen to any of his YouTube videos, he understands what he's feeling in the moment of every fight, and he understands how to then use that, or what that means for his how he's going to approach the fight, or how he is approaching the fight, or how he has approached the fight, kind of thing. And I don't see that level of introspection from many boxers, and I think that is a skill that if many of the top boxers had that skill, they'd be a lot better than they were, if that makes sense. It's a very underutilized skill, or underutilized skill. But yeah, so I just wanted to throw out a bit of feedback on that fight, and what I took from it, and what my big the things I noticed, what my big takeaways were, and kind of what I felt watching that fight. I really enjoyed it. You know, I was left wanting more after that particular fight. I hope they do the rematch. I'll definitely be tuning in for that. And yeah, like, Dave Allen's won me over, and I'll be definitely tuning in and looking out for his fights going forward, and Johnny Fisher as well. You know, we all know about Bosch and all this and that. Like, I'm down with Bosch. So yeah, and like, I'm looking forward to seeing more. Yeah. All right, so listen, if you like it, give a quick like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot, and I'll check you in the next one.